What's up, guys? How are you? Welcome back. Happy New Year. Start of a new year. So we're going to start off doing certain things, you know, to keep putting that content in the channel and keep it as fun and as diverse as possible, right? So as you see here, I have a bunch of McFarlane stuff that I got pretty much to the last quarter of the year last year. I would say probably from September to December, maybe beginning of January. And so within that stuff, a lot of my favorites, right, from McFarlane, like top figures, are within that list. So I'm going to count them down, from my least favorite to my most favorite. And, we'll go from there, character from character. Give you an idea. I got like the Captain Steel, which was a gold label. And what I will say is that McFarlane has he started to do a lot of deep cuts and more of the characters that we haven't seen more of, even back in the day with other lines. Not since probably DC Universe Classics from Mattel. And he started to hit those cuts now more frequent, more often with the classic looks. So those are the ones that I'm trying to get the most or prioritize. And he's still one of the best lines to collect with as far as quality, paint job, articulation, how much accessories to come with for the price point. Plus the size, the figures got good size to them, and they feel good with material. He started doing more cloth goods, more cloth capes, which also is a big plus. So hopefully you guys sit back, relax, and enjoy, right? What I'm going to do and who I'm going to show it, and I hope you stick to it, to the entire, countdown of my favorites from McFarlane from last year. That I got that I didn't really properly review. So please do me a favor if you can. Give me a thumbs up if you liked the video or the channel, or a thumbs down. Leave a comment down below of what you think, of your thoughts, and share the video with someone you think might like it. So without further ado, let's give another click. Let's blink, and I'll be back, and I'll see you in the blink of an eye. Okay, guys, so we're going to start off my number one pick from my pickups of the late last year, or from the course of last year in general, from McFarlane. But remember, this is not the best out of McFarlane. This is going to be starting from my least favorite figure to my favorite, basically, from what I picked up. And that's the type of countdown I'm trying to do. So we'll start off with none other than the black version of Lightning Lad. There are two Lightning Lads. There's a Caucasian white one, and there's an African American black man. I only was able to find this one. And the only reason why I have a problem with this one is because I don't like the simplicity, right, of the... I don't like the simplicity of the figure itself, how simplified he looks, the suit, aesthetically, right? He has a really cool and good face on him. As you can see, bring this down a little closer. He has a really nice scope, and he comes with 3 different scopes. So again, really cool figure. Very cool figure, but very simple in design. He doesn't have a lot of sculpting either. He's just painted on all the designs on him, which McFarlane never really does. Had this lightning here been sculpted, and the one here on his boots, had that been sculpted, I think this would have made the figure much more appealing and stand out better. And so It is a good figure, like I said, but again, very, very simplified or simple look to him. So that's why I have him, Lightning Lad, of course. I have him, as my least favorite figure of this year that I picked up because of the design, basically. So, quick turnaround on him again. This is Lightning Lad. Now, the Caucasian version I like much better because the suit is much nicer, and I believe that's the original suit for him as well. So hopefully I'll be able to find him in the wild someday, hopefully. But as of now, he's overpriced in the aftermarket. So we're moving. Okay, guys, and moving right along, my next figure is none other than Darkseid. And this is a mega figure. Beautiful figure. Absolutely stunning aesthetically. Absolutely gorgeous. Comes with a nice extra head. A couple of exchangeable hands. Not much, but priced at about, I think it was 40, maybe 50 bucks. So not bad as far as the price goes. The problem, well, two problems with this figure that made me dislike it is that because he has like a couple of versions, one is without the cape and one with the cape. I feel like this medallion here, it should have been removable, where you could take off the cape, put it back in, and you could have either the Darkseid from the cartoon, right, or the actual comic. Also, keeping in mind that this look was also from the original Super Friends toy line from the 80s. So again, my problem that made me have put this figure in the category of least likes is, like I said, not aesthetically, because he is a nice looking figure, but the fact that you can't remove the cape to give him both the classic comic and vintage toy look, but two, he had QC issues. Every time you move out the arms, the legs, try to pose them, they come off very easily, and it almost feels like it's cheap material or cheaply done. But as you can see, aesthetically, and because he comes with an extra portrait that looks really good, he looks great. So I'm pretty sure the feeling on the figure is going to basically vary. So moving on next to the next figure. So the next figure we have is none other than the Azrael Batman. And this is in true form the actual first real Azrael Batman with the big metal fins in the back, which was executed excellently by McFarlane Toys. And my biggest gripe with the figure is that because of those fins, it puts in a lot of weight to the figure in the back and kind of makes it really top heavy. But other than that, he's a figure that looks really, really good. As you can see, he has great detail all over that stand out really, really well. As you can see, his eyes, the red, the gold are executed really well. Not a lot of sheen to them, but still look really good. Kind of yellow gold on the belt, on the actual thighs, and then the sculpted piece is there on his boots, or what would be his boots, and then a nice texturing on his clothes and stuff, and then the nice silver on the hands, and the amazing details in the gauntlets of the forearms with the actual bat hooks coming out. And some parts here are really soft and very pliable, while others are very plasticky. You see the details on the actual bat things in the back are really executed and done well. And then, the face even has a kind of an effect like the eyes glow red with it inside. And the other problem is that the blue version was also excellent, and it got me upset because I kind of wanted it both, but I already had gotten the original blue version that came out originally with the first look, which was my more favorite look of Azrael in general. So yeah, this is my next 2024 release of my least favorite from McFarlane last year. Moving on next. So the next figure on the line is none other than the Question, or on this list rather. And the Question is a fantastic looking figure, but by default he uses a lot of reused parts from the Joker, specifically the ones from the movie. And that's not the figure and the character's fault by any means, because by design that is what the Question looks like, and this is a perfect iteration of the Question since the classics. And you can see it's very simple, very, very simple in design, but as you can see, the character in itself has a blank face. So it's not like it's its fault, right? Because, the Question does have, basically, he doesn't have any eyes, as you can see there. And, the shadow of the actual helmet kind of doesn't let you see that. And, the tie is accurate with the color, yellow and black, and then you got the pinstripes looking really nice. And the gloves, obviously. So it's a very simple figure. So by default, it's not its fault. But because it's so simple, it kind of like, doesn't really stand out from the bunch of all the other stuff that came out specifically this year. But again, a beautiful figure nonetheless. But also, another thing that wasn't cool was he made it really hard to find, McFarlane, because he made it into I think it was a platinum edition, which you could only get at GameStop, because that's where I found mine, at GameStop, and it was literally by luck. So, moving right along, is none other than the newly released Target Gold Labels Wildcat. And Wildcat is a really fun, dope character. He's a boxer, I believe, and martial artist that actually trains Batman in the cartoon Brave and the Bold. And Wildcat looks really accurate to what he's supposed to as far as his representation. But because of the fact that he's so simple, I guess that's why I have him here at this point, because he is 100% accurate, but very, very simple by design and by nature. And we haven't had a Wildcat, to be quite honest, since the Mattel's classics. So he looks really good, right? As far as his look, his gloves, has nice shading in there of whites within the purple, and then the black shading going blend down into the boots, and they look black. Even though I think, or I believe, that the figure it's supposed to really have like cat-like feet sticking out, almost like Black Panther, and there's a character that reminds me very much so of Marvel's Black Panther. So what I'll do is, because I do have the DC Mattel's classics, I'll bring them in as comparison, and you can see they look like side by side, and you can see that they're very similar but yet very different. And I still do appreciate the DC's classics, because I feel like the head portrait on the DC's classics, even though it's older, right? I feel like it still has a better interpretation because these are longer, the ears are out more. He has the detail there of in the face. You can see his eyelids a little bit better. And then, of course, moving down, he has the feet that look more cat-like. And because of this, I feel like the DC Classics version, although not superior in any as far as articulation, maybe modern look, in comparison to the McFarlane one, it's still not superior, but yet in some ways it is. So I have him here in this position, or at this point, mainly because of his simplicity. But it's nice to see a deep cut like this, because we haven't had one since, like I said, since the classics. So next we have none other than the Christopher Reeve movie Superman. And I know a lot of people will probably be like, oh, how dare you blaspheme, because we haven't had a lot of Christopher Reeve Superman figures at all. Don't get me wrong, this figure is very, very, very nice. Cloth cape, the S logo in the back, right? That I believe is very accurate. The simplicity and smooth look of the suit. And it has some really cool little, features it came with. For example, I feel like the face is very well done, but I feel like the face is done well. How you call it? I feel like the face is done well, and the sculpting here protruding ever so slightly on the S. Then the shorts are very accurate, or his shorts, and then the material of this cape is really nice. The wired cape, and then the boots also very accurate, smooth, not too many lines, and then he has the hand with the stick of kryptonite that is handed to him by Lex Luthor. And again, I feel like he's very good. He was a little bit more expensive. And then they have this portrait that comes extra with him. But I feel like this portrait, he's, I think, drunk or angrier. I feel like this is a more accurate portrait of Christopher Reeve, because the actual portraits are very accurate and very good likeness, I think, of the actual late actor Christopher Reeve himself, in 6-inch scale, 6-inch form. Even though we do have the Mesco one and we have the NECA one, which I also have, but it's been a while that we have one that's fully articulated with cloth goods, and that doesn't cost too much, that it will break the bank with a really good likeness to the actor. So that's why I have him kind of up there, only because he's a movie figure from the 80s or 70s that I grew up with. So I did have nostalgia for Christopher Reeves. He was the Superman I knew growing up, but once I saw other stuff, like even Brandon Routh, I thought was decent. And especially when I saw the Zack Snyder's, Man of Steel, I just think that movie's a masterpiece. And I think it depicted Krypton and Superman the best than any other description of or interpretation of him in in an interactive media, visual media, and then like cartoons and all that. Even though people might say I'm crazy, but Superman, the Man of Steel, with is much deeper and much more well thought out and emotional and sympathetic to them than people actually gave it a chance. If you look at the movie and really pay attention to what's going on, and I thought it was fantastic. So here is the Christopher Reeve, and I have him there because of the fact that he's really just based off an older movie property. So the next character in this line is none other than the Huntress. And I really love this figure for a lot of reasons. You know, nice wires cape, cloth goods, multiple face plates of likeness, her classic, you know, spear gun, the beautiful purples on black. You know, a lot of attention to detail, very, very much so. Very much so, a lot of attention to detail. As you can see here, she looks really phenomenal in every way possible. Beautiful hair sculpt, all the lines going down very clean. The purple pads on the shoulders, the belt, the gloves, the spear being all matte black. The strip lines coming down her legs, and the beautiful boots sculpted in really nice. And of course, the cloth cape with the wires in the end. She looks fantastic. But the reason why she's not higher, and I kind of dislike her, is because when you compare her to the DC Classics, yes, she's a far superior figure as far as the quality, right? But if you look at the Mattel Classics, the Mattel Classics did her correctly with her legs showing, a bit of her stomach, her arms, and that's the way that she should look, as opposed to McFarlane kind of held back and dressed her up from head to toe to kind of act like she's not over-sexualized. Then, even though he gave her the nice belt, as you can see that she has there, as you can see right with the long hair, he forgot to give her these gadget pouches that go on her legs, which should be there with that gun as well, even though it is sculpted in the Mattel version. But the Mattel version, again, I feel is more accurate. So although the Mattel version shies in comparison as far as the way the figure feels, the quality, and obviously the you know, the price cut and the size, everything, the Mattel one is still superior in the sense that they have more of the correct deco, and they didn't hold back, so she's more accurate to her look. Even though her articulation doesn't match either the McFarlane one. But that's my reason why I didn't put her any higher, like in a #1 spot. So, moving right along, next we have Orion. And Orion is a beautifully depicted new interpretation of the figure that's never really been done before, since the Mattel Classics as well, and he's very accurate. The reason he's the Target Gold label, and he's much newer, he just was newly released, and just the reason why I don't have him, let's say, a little higher on the list, right? A little higher on the list, right, is because he is, although very sculpted very well, and although he looks really good in all areas, right? Like the face sculpt, for example, as you can see, looks spectacular. He doesn't have the white outline of the shirt and collar, I mean blue, and then the harness of his apparatus that he uses, right, is a flat gold. Even though it has a lot of detail, it's a flat gold. It has no real wash in it, like or metallic gold. And I understand that it's because it'll make the figure more expensive. I get it. But, you know, and you can see it's beautiful. It has all the outlines of the silver gray, the way it's supposed to be. And in the hands and on his actual, trunk area. But you can't also, another, I think, negative, you can't also really pose them any other which way because of the apparatus part that he brings. So that's also why I kind of put him in, you know, a little bit higher in the list as I'm going down from least favorite to best favorite. There you have Orion, and I don't have something to compare him to. I never had the classics, but there is a classic version of him. So there you go. Moving on along. And next we have my top 10 favorites, starting with number 10, none other than the blue and gray version of the Batman Reborn. And this figure is beautiful. This Batman is absolutely fantastic. I really love it a lot. The blue and gray has always been my favorite deco scheme for Batman. The black and gray one is also very, very, very nice as well. But this one is just phenomenal for me. I really love the look, the style, and the aesthetic of this Batman a lot. The nice beady whited eyes, looking kind of oriental or anime style. The beautiful satin cape and that nice satin, blue satin look. Kind of like the, you know, Adam West Batman. The logo, nice and clean. In black with his what you call it, knuckles, brass knuckles for his fingers to bust people up. The beautiful gold on the belt, as you can see, coming all the way around. You know, everything about him is fantabulous. Everything about him. So he is my number 10 from the top 10 of my favorite, least favorite to favorite on this list. Starting with number 10 being my best and favorites from McFarlane, from DC Multiverse from 2024. Starting with the new the new Rebirth Batman, the blue and gray edition. So let's get on to number 9. So next on my list is none other than Ragman, and this is a new character that I had no familiarity with him, but when I saw him I was like, wow, that's a really, really awesome looking fig and character. I love the cloth tethered cape, the beautiful vibrant money green that he has, the fact that he has a hoodie and you can also pull it back and put him without the hoodie, the strings in the front, the effect pieces that he has, and that nice camo pattern all around his body, although not sculpted, but definitely nicely painted. And let's take a closer look at his face sculpt, as you can see here. I try to zoom it in for you guys, but you can see. You see his face sculpt is immaculate, with the blacks around the eyes and the whited out eyes, and then the covered up mouth. But you see the paint marks and the patterns of paint all over his body, looking really, really well done with the translucent green parts and pieces that he has, with the tethered cape, as you can see, all over. Beautifully sculpted, simple looking figure, but yet very, very well executed and nicely done. So I think Ragman is stellar. I don't remember him ever being created in the Mattel Classics, and again, for that reason, just by himself, it was nice to pick him up because it was a deep cut character, and they even have a platinum edition, I believe, too, that we never seen before. And he looks good. You know, you can put him, like I said, with a hood down or put him with the hood up. Either way, I think it'll work fine, and it looks still pretty freaking cool, as you can see. So Ragman comes in at from my best favorite releases from 2024 for DC Multiverse from McFarlane at number 9. So here coming in at number 8 on my countdown of my most hated to favorite DC Multiverse McFarlane figure, we have none other than Robin Reborn from the Reborn series. And this is a very distinctive Robin, but I think he looks cool as fuck, because I think he looks so much like Batman and complements Batman much better than previous Robins before him. You know, with the smaller little leotard type looking shorts and you know, elf style boots. I think this Robin complements Batman if he was his sidekick much more. Or this would be more like what Robin would look like, you know, if he took over the mantle of Batman with the color scheme. And you can see that his detail, like in his face, it's really well done. And it looks really good with the whited out eyes. I like that kind of luchador type of mask that he has with the hair coming out on the top. You know, the R, classic R template on there with the nice body structure built. The gloves with the green. That nice belt going around with the, you know, his spandex being green with the yellow tight suit, and then the green boots and this beautiful yellow satin, you know, cape with wire in it. I think it looks fantastic, to be honest with you. I really like it a lot more than I thought I would. I know when I saw him in person, I was like, wow, this kid figure actually looks really cool. And you know, and it's nice because he also comes, like, if you want the more classier look, even though this head for me looks more like, let's say, the Green Lantern, right? For example, you can put it on him to make him look more like a more classic traditional Robin. There it is, popped in, if you want to, while you're posing him. And there you go, you could do that as well. And you see the head is definitely classic style. And you know, if you like that look better, but I kind of like the other one because he makes it look like a more modernized Robin, in my opinion. I think it looks good. And there you have it. You know, that's my number 8 on the countdown for the DC. And look how beautiful that cape holds up in any style you want it. That's the nice thing and brilliance of wired cape and cloth goods. So, moving right along. Coming in at my number 7 is none other than the Green Lantern Armor Corps, right? Green Lantern Corps. I forget his name. The one that looks kind of like a fish or a peacock. And this is meant to be done as a Build-A-Figure. There is another one that the suit is also different with 2 different heads, and I don't have that one, but I wish I can find them because in the aftermarket it's kind of expensive. But here is one of the heads that you have here, that nice fuchsia look color with all the beautiful details, as you can see on there, and all the texturing looks excellent. His eyes look great. And then of course, you know, we have our man here. Comes with a nice amount of accessories as well, because you can make at least 2 different characters if you buy 2 of them, which I have been very tempted to doing. As you can see, he looks really good. And zoom up, you see his head sculpt. Looks fantastic. Really nice. Really wonderful. Looks great. So, like I was saying, looks really great. You can see all the textures, the line of work, the shield. Looks wonderful. Textures on the suit. And then the boots. This is a really good buck. Even has the ring of power coming out there. the effect, which looks fantastic. Really, really nice. Wonderful figure. The textures alone make him out of this world and made him one of my favorites this year. Just because, it looks so good. And the fact that you can army build, of course. I would like to get the other one, but I haven't been able to find them, like I said. But hopefully I'll have some better luck this year and I may be able to get them at a good price. So there you have it, the Green Lantern Corpse, Green Lantern. I'll build a figure from the collector's edition from McFarlane. Coming in at number 7. So coming in at number 6, guys, is none other than the Simon Baz Green Lantern. And I absolutely love this design for the Green Lantern. He looks spectacular in my personal opinion. I think he's badass, he's cool. He brought a lot of different construct stuff. And the lantern, lamp, a little contrast hammer, glow in the dark contrast see-through fist. He has like 3 different face plates that you can put on him. Take a closer look at his face. As you can see, he looks really cool, really good. No complaints on how he looks. The details are stupendous. The look, the actual line work of the suit coming down with the neon greens into the blacks, all nice and matted, with the nice boots as well, and the open hand gloves that you see there. And again, simple style, simple look, but very, very, very effective. He looks awesome. John Stewart, Simon Baz, 2 very, very cool Lantern Corps characters that I really love, and I never had any of the DC Directs or the Mattel DC Classics one, or DC Universe Classics. I'm glad that McFarlane, another, like I said, deep cut that he went into and finally brought out, because we haven't had a lot of figures of Simon Baz. So he is my number 6 on the countdown. Next we have coming in at my number 5 is none other than Agent Liberty. And Agent Liberty, I never really was familiar with this character at all. He's basically kind of like the Captain America of the DC universe. And he looks absolutely stupendous with the black and yellows and the hints of actual blues. Has a nice effect piece coming out of his backpack, a translucent power shield, and his harness with the star, and he looks really, really awesome. And he does not bring a gun, but I did add a gun to him because obviously I believe he does use guns, but because of the DC license about that not allowing guns on figures and McFarlane not being able to get around that yet, obviously he couldn't do it, but I gave him a gun, and as you can see here, he looks stupendous, and you can see that he looks really, really good. I love his frown, the serious nature of his face, very phantom look, like the yellows in the harness with the blues, the highlights of red, the star in the middle, his belt, his gloves with the little dots, like I said, his actual power shield, the matte blacks going down into the yellow boots with the pinstripes on the side, and then his actual backpack in the back. I think he looks superb. Really like this character. Another deep cut, one of my favorites from release, very simple, from McFarlane from last year. Although he's a simple character, I like the fact and the nature that he is one of those obscure characters that we would not see just like that otherwise on a normal line from Marvel or DC. And I feel very lucky that we got him, and that he's has a representation in action figure form. So let's move on to my number 4. All right, guys, and coming in at number 4 is none other than Captain Steel, or Commander Steel. Really forgive me for mixing that up, but I believe that's what it is. And this figure is one of my absolute favorite. Stupendous looking, absolutely fabulous, very simplistic, but the color palette and choice is spot on. Really, really nice. And I really, really dig the way McFarlane executed this guy. And to compare him, here's the Mattel Universe Classic, which I also own, and you can see all the similarities, but at the same time all the indifferences. And you can see this one is far and beyond superior, even though this has a muted red with the metallic blues, which looks good. McFarlane opted to do a metallic silver instead of white, with the regular blue on a heavier, more apple candy apple red. So take a closer look real quick at Captain Steel. Let's zoom this in, and you see right off the back, the stupendous head sculpt is absolutely spectacular. I love that he got the whited eyes, more stylized with the metallic blue on the top and the metallic blue on the top mohawk or pohawk thing, going down with the blues and that silver instead of that being white, and inside the shoulder pieces to continue that contrast together, the shoulder pad area going down with the pinstripes into the gloves, the middle going in pinstripe going into the his little undies. But as you can see, it's all sculpted, really nice. Again, on the other side, on the back with the star, really nice. On the back of the head, really nice. Very clean for the most part. The nice blues with the very shiny, reds, and the pinstripe going down all the way into the boots. Pinstripe in the front into the boots as well. Looks really good. And for comparison, if you look at the side-by-side head of him and the classics for Universe, you see that he looks much more badass and mature. He kind of looks like the Rocket in a way. And this guy here, with the teeth showing in the eyes, kind of feels a little bit cheesy to compared to the new one. So zooming out and zooming back in, this Commander Steel is spectacular. Another deep cut. Fantastic that McFarlane actually did him this year in the line, and he is one of my favorites. He was a Target exclusive gold label, but easy to find. I think he's still in stock now if you go to the site, so you can still pick him up. So he is my number 4 on the list. So moving right along, so coming in at number 3 is none other than the new 52 Cyborg Superman. And this figure is absolutely stupendous. And this is the Platinum Edition, which has the more accurate paint job, if you ask me, to match Superman better, based on the original comic books, Cyborg Superman. And again, this is a absolutely knockout figure. I can't stress it enough how good it looks, with cape made out of rubber, the tethering on it, all that cybernetic component on his hands, onto his face, the beautiful detailing on and weathering on his S symbol. He just looks absolutely stunning. I can't stress it enough. Let's bring him in for a closer look. And of course, as you can see, and you will notice right away, let's look at the head sculpt right away. And here we go. The head sculpt is a masterclass. Superb. Notice how one eye is red and the other one is that actual yellow, or that regular color of Superman's eyes, which is blue. All that detail onto the neck, the details and the shading on the hair, on the other side of the mouth, the cyborg piece coming out on one side into the sculpted symbol, the blues on his arms, all that detail. Looking very how you call it, kind of nano suit style, I guess. The reds and the ribs, and then the spikes here in the shoulder and the arms, all that beautiful work, all that line of work. The blues there going into his belt buckle on the actual torso area, right? Or stomach, his legs going down, actual, leg, it's like a knee patch or a knee protector in silver coming out, showing the cybernetics into the boots, looking really futuristic. And then on the other side with the nice blues as well, and that yellow. And then we can take a quick look at his cape. As you can see, he looks absolutely stupendous. And then his hands, obviously, his cybernetic hands with the fingers individually. Even a Superman symbol there on the top of his palm of his, or top part of his hand, not the palm. Looks great. He looks fantastic. So really fell in love with this figure. Didn't think it was going to be that good. And I found them on a whim. The Platinum Edition, which is pretty pricey in the GameStop. So I'm pretty lucky that I did. And I am very grateful I have in my possession. So there you have it, guys. There is the 52 Superman, or the new 52 Superman, Cyborg Superman, coming in at my number 3. So coming in at number 2 is none other than Mr. Terrific. And yes, Mr. Terrific is a showstopper in my opinion. I think McFarlane executed this figure excellently with a cloth goods jacket and the decos and the special effects that it comes. Now, what I really wanted was the Platinum Edition, because that is the real or more commonly seen version of Mr. Terrific, and unfortunately I haven't been able to find them, but I do like this one. I think it's really cool, and I love that he did what he did. So let's take a closer look, but before we do that, I'll show you what I mean. I'll bring in the Mattel Classics Universe Classics with Terrific, and you can see that they kind of killed it with this one, because a lot of things look really good, but one thing that they did not do is he did not do the fair play on one side and the other, and then he did not do the Terrific on the back. And if I zoom it in, you can see those are beautiful details that are in this one. And this has a different actual deco on the inside with the pin stripes going around all over, all the way down to the boots area. And then you have the black mask on its face and the balls coming out with the little fro on the top, whatever you want to call it, shape up, neutral style look, whatever the case may be. The point is, this is a figure that's more than 20 years old, and somehow Mattel and the DC Universe line, classic line team managed to do a spectacular job with that. So, taking a closer look at Mr. Terrific from McFarlane, first thing we'll notice is he has a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful head sculpt. And he creamed 3 different plates. I love the whited eyes, the red with the black pinstripes, all the details on his hair. I love the jacket that's made out of a pleather-like look. Really nice, and I think that's why he couldn't do the names on the side, because it probably would start to chip or break up and then look kind of ugly after a while. And if you put a tampo or sticker, it might wash out. And I think that's the reason why he didn't do it, to be honest. Then you got the wonderful translucent ball with the T and translucent with the chromes, and then the one on his hand that he's holding with the T, and then the spiral effect one that goes on his wrist. Going all the way down, you can take the jacket off. You see that it's in white and it forms a T as well. You can remove the jacket if you wanted to do so. And in the side of the jacket, he does have the fair on it. And then I believe on the other side, if you take this off real quick, even though with this hand it is molded on it, which is cool, so you won't lose it. On this side, if you pull this off, it says play. And then he has the red pinstripes going all the way around, nice and clean with the T, as you can see. And let's put this back on here real fast. So absolutely stupendous. On my countdown, when McFarlane first got the license, I said that these were, figures I would like to see his interpretation on. And I'm finally starting to see it, with Mr. Terrific being one of the first, or one of the few first in that list. And I put it long ago, and he made him. And I think he is terrific. No pun intended, right? So that was my number 2 and my second favorite figure of the year from McFarlane's DC Multiverse line. So now let's move on to my number 1. Okay, guys, so coming in at my number 1 favorite figure of 2024 from McFarlane Toys from the DC Multiverse line is none other than the Clock King. And here we have him in all of his glory. I think this is the most spectacular and most unique character to date that I've seen from a lot of different lines. And the Clock King is no different. He does not disappoint. I love the color of the neon green, yellow with that sky blue, all the clockwork designs on him, the gold that he carries on his hands as weapons, which is actually the actual, sticks, timer sticks inside of a clock with that nice, beautiful sheen of gold, as you can see, right? Which I think is stupendous, and I really like a lot. And the actual face that he has for a clock with the yellows, the clocks all over his body, the watch he has on his hands, the clock he has on his utility belt, quote unquote, right? You see that in his torso area. Has a lot of nice work as well done. So many different clocks tattooed and tampoed onto his actual body, his shoulders, other shoulders. A watch on the other side, going all the way down onto his boots, which look great. His satin neon yellow cape with wires in it. That looks awesome. And you turn around, he don't have clocks in the back, but it's okay because the cape basically hides that. But again, just looking at it, his pure obscurity, the fact that he's a deep cut character that you would only see somebody like McFarlane create and get away with, and yet still make it cool looking and different. He reminds me a lot of a comic jumper from the video game, or something like the Fearless Photog from Motu. That's the type of vibe that he gives me and kind of memory that I got from him. And he is my number 1. I think he's the best tooled and executed McFarlane figure, even though his buck is simplistic, of 2024. and a very deep cut. I doubt it we'll ever see another figure from him at this quality for the price point ever again down the line or in the future. I mean, Mafex might do one, who knows, but I don't think so. But if they don't, I'm happy with this one, and I think that he fits the bill, and that he will be in my collection and make me happy for a very long time. Very long time. So guys, those are my number ones. Like I said, let me know what you guys think about my countdown. These were my least to best favorite based on figures that I bought last year from DC Multiverse that I hadn't had a chance to review or to take a closer look at individually. I did it all in one shot in this haul or in this video for the simple fact of trying to get to all of them, plus showing my favorite or least favorite figures that I picked up in 2024 for McFarlane Toys from the DC Multiverse line. Let me know if you liked the video. Give a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, leave a thumbs down. Share the video with someone you think might enjoy it. As always, thank you for all of you that continue to support my channel, because without you, my channel would not be sustained. And as always, you guys can find me in any social media outlet or platform going forward in any way, shape, or form. It's all down in the description below. And yes, you can hit me up there on DMs if you like to DM anything, or if you would like to donate anything to the channel, or maybe for me to highlight anything on the channel to review like this. I will be more than grateful, humbled, and glad to do so. Just hit me up there and we can work out the particulars, like where to mail the stuff. Also, I would like to say, Happy New Year to everyone. But also, if you want to help the channel more directly and personal, because you like what I do and you want to help me continue to grow with material and obviously things to do and to showcase, there is a way you can do it on a more personal level, only if you choose to, only if you want to, from the kindness of your heart, and if you have the means to do it. It's not mandatory. It's also not necessary. Only if you want to. And that is with my Patreon and PayPal information also down in the description below. So there you have it, guys. My countdown of McFarlane toys that I got during the course of 2024. Put some of the ones that I have out still here, just to kind of refresh your memory. Some of my favorites, some of my not favorites. And again, it's been an absolute pleasure and fun doing this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it the way I did. I make sure that, I'll do some of the countdowns like my Motu very soon. And, hopefully we can tackle it like this as well. And, I hope you enjoy it as well. So it's your boy Hebot signing off. I'll see you in the next one, guys. Keep collecting. Have fun doing it. But make sure you're considerate with others, because we're still in trying times. Love you guys. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.